Hey guys, welcome to this second video recap of Spain's Euro Under-21 Championship the other night. They beat Portugal 3-1 and that confirmed the passage through to the knockout stages of the tournament, the semi-finals. I'm joined by Simon Harrison again. And yeah, so was it an improvement, do you think, on the Macedonian performance?
I'd say obviously it's a completely different test. Macedonia struggled after the hour mark, and to be honest, it did kind of work out in the same way that Portugal did go for the same sort of approach that Macedonia went for. Mm-hmm. They pressed high, tried to get in their faces, even with it being, maybe a little bit of to the detriment of their own attacking play. Mm-hmm. But I'd definitely say that it showed a different side of Spain. It showed they could dig in a bit more. It showed that Asensio is not just a player that is a luxury going forward. He's prepared to, dig in himself, work hard, track back, and they were prepared to be more of a unit. And then they'd break at pace again, which was exactly the same as what they went for against Macedonia. So I think it affirmed their approach for this tournament, and it really just sets the gauntlet down for the other teams' incoming games to sort of find a different way, because pressing high doesn't really seem to be working for them.
Yeah, exactly, because I think with Spain's, the number of players they've got who are excellent on the ball, probably is everybody. I mean, even Kepa, and then, you had somebody like Johnny came in, and, he was good on the ball as well. But I think Marcus Llorente probably stood out, didn't he, really? Again, dropping into that back, to make it a back three when the full-backs from Bellerin and Johnny this time pushed up high. Marcus Llorente dropped back in. He was the main distributor, he took the ball off Vallejo, he distributed, got out the wide areas, got into centre midfield for Dani Ceballos to initiate attacks. But he was really good again, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, I think, the key piece. He's been the reason why Macedonia and Portugal have both kind of failed with pressing high. Because he's not afraid to get on the ball, whether it be under pressure, whether it be in space. He's always the man looking to open the play out to the side, to a free fullback, even open the play out to whether maybe Deulofeu's out wide or Asensio's out wide. I mean, they switch flanks a little bit, showed a little bit of variation in that regard. But definitely, I think Llorente, even though he's not one of these big match-winning players, he's definitely a player that's going to be key, especially with if they come up against the likes of Italy, stronger teams, or if they come up against these teams where potentially they'll look and they'll think, well, maybe we should sit back and not give Spain the space to break into. Then he becomes important, because obviously with Spain committing more players forward, he'll be important in terms of breaking down the opposition counter-attacks too. So I think no matter what happens and no matter how the game goes, Llorente should still continue to be key. And also I think it's definitely worth noting that even if he doesn't play next game and Mikel Merino comes in, that I do think that will be a continued feature that Merino will probably end up dropping into. That'll probably be something that Celades is looking to keep consistent. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think Merino is perhaps better. I mean, he can play a similar role, but I don't think there's anybody in the team like Llorente who can drop into the back three like that. And we say he's been like almost an unassuming presence, considering all the hype that Asensio has got. Everybody knows who Deulofeu is. Ceballos is coming in, as well, and he's a bit of a little star himself. But Llorente, he reminds me of how Yaramendi was last time around when Thiago and Isco kind of took all the headlines. Llorente, and it was Yaramendi who basically stood out. He was the cornerstone of the team, and Llorente is doing the same now, I think.
Yeah, well, I think, and that performance in that tournament for Yaramendi ended up with him moving to Real Madrid.
Yeah, he really stood out to a lot of people. I remember talking to a lot of people during the tournament, and they were like, "So what about this kid Yaramendi? Who is he?" And he told them, like, "Oh, he's brilliant at Real Sociedad," but nobody really knew him that much. And I think it's happening now with Llorente.
Yeah, well, I think there's no real reason why Marcus Llorente can't be doing the same thing and be playing some regular football for Real Madrid next season. Same goes for Jesus Vallejo. He got man of the match. Yeah, I think he was quite surprised himself to get it. I think maybe he would expect maybe Johnny. Yeah. I think Johnny maybe stood out a little bit more in being like a direct counterbalance against the fact that João Cancelo, he was causing a lot of problems down the right hand side in the first half. But I mean, Cancelo, it was kind of his own product that let him down. But the other thing worth mentioning is that Kepa, once again, his handling was extremely good. Yeah. Anything, whether it was a ball fizzing up off the turf, whether it was kind of down his throat, he dealt quite well with just anything, really. Wasn't parrying anything, wasn't giving any forwards any reason to be optimistic with following up. He's just been really, really solid all the way through.
He's a very secure presence, and I think, like you say, I think the two, again, we talk about unassuming Llorente. Well, Johnny came in for Gaia, not really the similar type of, not really that type of fullback who hairs on, and supports the attack in a big way. Johnny was somebody, he's a player who focuses on defence. He can play anywhere across the back line, don't forget, for Celta de Vigo. And he came in and he was fantastic. He offered a bit of presence in defence, I thought. And then, like you say, Kepa. So there was the two unassuming performances as well from Kepa and Johnny, who were fantastic, weren't they?
Yeah, I think it's useful to have this sort of depth. And I think the depth is definitely something that we're going to be seeing next game. Mm-hmm. And I think the team that Celades picks, it will probably inform us a little bit more about what he sees as his first team going forward into the semi-finals. Mm-hmm. I think if Gaia comes in for the final group game, mm-hmm. that probably means that Johnny will be picked for the semi-finals. Yeah. And I think the same goes for if Denis Suarez comes back in and Dani Ceballos misses out. I would think that Denis Suarez and Jose Gaia will be those backup options after how well their replacements have managed to do.
It maybe depends on what type, when we talk about the left side, maybe talks, what type of opposition Spain face as well. If somebody's going to sit in, then I think Gaia is potentially better. Mm-hmm. And then if you're facing a stronger team, Portugal are obviously confident enough to go at Spain.
Yeah,
they've got Johnny for that role, but I think maybe because Gaia was excellent against Macedonia, but it was against Macedonia.
Yeah. So
if you face a similar team who will approach the game that way, you think, they're going to sit back. Gaia is somebody who you can push right up, and he used to be a striker when he was a young kid at Valencia, so he's happy staying forward. And I think Bellerin's showing as well that he's happy to go forward, isn't he? Yeah. Start the second half, he really bombed on, didn't he, Bellerin?
Yeah, I mean, in the first game I thought it was quite underwhelming, but he definitely improved against Portugal. I suppose it was just that he was asked to do more. I think he probably found himself in the penalty area a little bit more than he's used to, mm-hmm. and he didn't look like he really knew what to do with it when he was in these opportunities mm-hmm. to test the goalkeeper. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Alvaro Odriozola come in for the last game.
Yeah, I'd really like to see him because he's been fantastic, hasn't he? Yeah. And like some of the change, we talk about Odriozola, he would be great to come in, and I'd like to see Carlos Soler.
Yeah, I think he could easily come in. I think Mikel Merino could come in. Mm-hmm. Ayarzabal could come in. Iñaki could get his first start. Obviously he came off the bench, did quite well.
Mayoral
did something very un-Iñaki Williams-like, which was actually beat his man, get to the box, and then finish.
He should do that more. He should do that more, shouldn't he, Iñaki? He's got the ability, as you said, because I was sat next to you, we were watching the game, and I was going, beat him one-on-one, take him one-on-one, because I've seen Iñaki so many times at Athletic. He kind of looks over for Adariz, he looks over for DeMarcos, who's coming around him in the fullback area. But this time he was in a situation where he was kind of on his own and he had to go for it. And he did, and I was like, yes, finally. Because he's got the ability in that. Sometimes he needs to believe in himself a little bit more, and that was fantastic. So a start for him. Yeah. Mayoral as well, maybe with the shot. Celades really likes Mayoral, apparently.
Yeah, he could maybe. I think Sandro, his goal was very well taken, but he's definitely not shown a reason why he would be undroppable. And I really think that why not give Boyo Mayoral a chance? Why not get as many players involved as possible? They've already got their place secured. Pau Lopez could potentially come in mm-hmm. in goal, or Ruben Blanco, whoever he sees fit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it's just a case of looking at the depth. Celades, the options that he's chosen to come in and replace, so far it's gone perfectly mm-hmm. well. So that doesn't give any reason why these other players who are on the fringes, why they can't come in and do something similar. And yeah, definitely Carlos Soler, I think after the season he's had, he deserves to at least get on the pitch.
I'm interested to see what he can provide, because it might come later in the tournament where you face a team who we'll talk about these deep block teams who do want to sit in, and I think Soler's movement is brilliant in those situations. I remember a lot of the games at Mestalla when Valencia were kind of a bit stuck. It was Soler's movement off Dani Parejo, and that could work similar with maybe Ceballos. His movement off Dani Parejo in Valencia created a lot, and maybe he can do that again for Spain if you come against that opposition. Yeah, maybe they won't even need it.
I think that's the story of it. They've got so much depth and so much quality, they might not need Valencia's best player from last season.
It's ridiculous.
But I think if that is the case, if they play against these teams who sit deep, I think one of the first players that will probably suffer is Deulofeu. Mm-hmm. I don't think he can hold his place if he's not got any space to drive into.
I think a lot of people want him dropped. I think they'd like to see somebody change, and they've got options. It's not like Deulofeu can be dropped and then there's nobody to come in. I think there's a lot of even Iñaki could play that role.
Yeah, definitely. I think what's made it difficult is the fact that he's got the captain's armband. He was substituted in the first game, so it's shown that Celades isn't afraid to take him off if he deems it necessary. Mm-hmm. But that game was already won when he took him off, so I think Deulofeu wouldn't be annoyed to be taken off in that situation. I think the way they've been playing, I think Bellerin or Gaia or Johnny, whoever's out wide, they're the ones providing the width. I don't think that Deulofeu is necessarily going to offer all that much if they come against a team who wants to sit in. I think he'll end up just being a source of massive frustration to probably his teammates as well as fans as well. But the fact he's got that captain's armband, I as a captain, I mean, you've got to put the collective above yourself, but it is a hard thing to take if you're taken off in a game where you think that you can still have an impact.
I know.
And I mean, I don't know whether that might cause a few problems, that captain's armband, to be honest with you.
No, I think so. No, I do. I agree.
You've got a person like Vallejo potentially. He's going to be playing probably every game. He's got past experience.
He's been captain since he was 18. Vallejo, which is incredible of his team of Zaragoza, and he's captained Spain at every single level as well. So he doesn't mind being captain, and even though he's one of the he only came up from under-19s with Ceballos and Asensio. He has got enough for me to lead that team. And then Saul's an incredible. We can clearly see he's quite a big presence, isn't he? Already behind the scenes. And he's somebody who could also be captain. But I think it would be a big call for Celades if he.
Yeah, there's no way you can change it.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. I think that's the issue. I think where Spain can be most changeable and fluid with their options is probably up front, and he's kind of shoehorn himself into definitely needing to pick Deulofeu for most games. Asensio's undroppable. Saul needs to play to get forward and support the attack. Sandro, I would say, is undisputed up top. Even though he's not quite had a game where you've seen him and you've thought he's unplayable for this level. I just think they've kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit with it. Maybe it'll end up being the right decision because Deulofeu in the semi-final, in the final if they get through, he could make all the difference, and it could be the fact that he's been given this responsibility, which is kind of maybe giving him that boost, but
I still think he needs to really, really step up because he's the most senior member of this squad. He's the one. He's the record appearance holder for Spain under-21s. He's the record goal scorer as well for Spain under-21s. He kind of needs a moment, I think, this tournament to say, right, I'm ready for the step up to the next level, because that's what you have to do in these tournaments. I think there was moments when Isco and Thiago did it last time around, and you're like, right, they are ready. Asensio's kind of like, you look at him and you think.
And Saul,
he's ready as well, and Saul as well looks ready. Even Vallejo as well, I think looks ready. Given Piqué is going to be retiring, so he's ready to step up. So Deulofeu maybe needs to show a little more, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting anyway. So Serbia next up, the changes come in, and next time you join us, we'll be talking about how the rotational players did. Thanks for joining us again.